Okay, picture this. The room is dimly lit, the white noise machine is humming perfectly, and your baby is, finally, blissfully asleep. You've just spent the last 45 minutes swaying, shushing, and doing that soft little pacing around the floor. You breathe this massive sigh of relief. But what happens next is a scenario literally every single parent knows all too well.
Everything in the nursery is incredibly peaceful. Until suddenly it isn't. Without any warning whatsoever, your sleeping baby's arms just fly outward. Their little body jerks sharply, their eyes pop wide open in shock, and just like that, the beautiful silence is broken and nap time is completely over before it even really began.
If you're nodding your head right now, maybe even through some exhausted, sleep-deprived tears, I want you to know you are absolutely not alone. How many times has this sudden jolt ruined a desperately needed nap for your family? It's an incredibly frustrating moment, right? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive into a completely normal and actually deeply essential newborn behavior.
So, Section 1, what exactly is the Moro Reflex? Let's get into it.
First off, I want to offer you a massive dose of reassurance right here at the start. You are doing absolutely nothing wrong when this happens. To understand why your baby does this, we have to look at the massive physical transition they're going through. Think about it. For 9 entire months, your baby lived in the womb. It's a warm, tightly enclosed, constantly supported, and completely secure space. Then, boom, they're born into the world. Suddenly, they're bombarded with bright lights, sharp new sounds, vast open spaces, and completely unexpected movements. The reason for this startle is actually fascinating. Their brand new nervous system is suddenly trying to process this highly stimulating environment after months of total enclosure. And one of the primary ways a newborn responds to all this wild new input is through reflexes.
Enter the Moro Reflex, which is commonly called the Startle reflex. It's an automatic protective reflex that is present right from birth. According to major pediatric organizations like the American Academy of Pediatrics and the NHS, it gets triggered whenever a baby feels a sudden change in their position, movement, or support. So the absolute crucial point here is that this happens entirely without your baby's conscious control. Their tiny brain is just reacting automatically to the environment around them.
When we break down the actual physical anatomy of this reaction, it's pretty predictable. When the reflex is triggered, your baby will typically throw both of their arms sharply outward, open their hands super wide, and then quickly pull their arms back in toward their body like they're trying to grab onto something. And, very often, they'll let out a startled cry. It's a deeply ingrained, protective biological response. It's definitely not a choice they are making to wake up and protest. But how do doctors actually view this reaction? Well, stick around, because the answer might completely change how you see these sudden wake-ups.
Here's what surprises many parents. This incredibly frustrating reflex, literally the exact one ruining your afternoon break, is actually a primary indicator that your baby's nervous system is functioning beautifully. Pediatricians routinely assess this exact reflex during early newborn checkups because it provides vital, direct information about their healthy neurological development. In a healthy infant, this startle is fully expected and, honestly, actually celebrated by doctors.
Moving on to Section 2. Why does sleep trigger it?
Now, knowing that it's biologically healthy doesn't really make it any less annoying when it happens at 2 in the morning, does it? So why does it always seem to interrupt precious sleep time? Well, it's because the natural transitions in sleep actively trigger it. As your baby naturally cycles between different stages of sleep, like moving from a light, active sleep into a much deeper sleep, they experience slight internal bodily movements or sensory shifts. To a highly sensitive, still developing nervous system, these tiny internal shifts are more than enough to accidentally fire off that automatic protective response. But what about when you were simply putting them down into their bed? That's what we really need to look at next.
Which brings us to Section 3, the crib transfer problem.
This leads us to perhaps the most notorious trap in all of modern parenting. You know the exact drill. You carefully rock your baby into a deep slumber right on your chest, you tiptoe across the floorboards to the crib, you gently begin to place them down and bam! The arms shoot out, the eyes fly open. Most parents don't realize this, but it all comes down to the sudden feeling of falling. The simple loving act of lowering your baby from your chest down onto a crib mattress causes a rapid change in spatial position. To their primitive nervous system, losing the firm, warm physical support of your body and moving downward instantly triggers a micro-sensation of falling. That spatial change perfectly and automatically activates the Moro reflex every single time.
So what can you practically do to survive this phase? There are a few evidence-based practices for smoother, safer transfers that won't jolt them awake quite so easily. First, move slowly. Literally much slower than you think you need to. Second, keep their body evenly supported against yours for as long as possible during the descent to minimize that falling sensation. And third, always strictly adhere to safe sleep guidelines. That means placing them completely on their back on a firm, flat sleep surface. Doing this not only ensures safety, but it reduces the sudden sensory shifts that trigger the startle. But how long will you actually have to deal with this delicate dance? We'll cover exactly when it ends next.
Okay, Section 4. Timeline and pediatric guidance.
Now for the light at the end of the tunnel that every exhausted viewer needs right now. Let's trace this timeline. The Moro Reflex is absolutely at its strongest right at birth. But as we move through months 1 to 3, your baby's nervous system is doing incredible, rapid work behind the scenes. It's maturing and learning to accurately process the outside world. By the time you hit around 4 months of age, you're going to see a massive reduction and often a complete disappearance of this reflex. It just simply fades away as they grow and gain physical control.
While we've thoroughly established this is a perfectly healthy, expected behavior, it's definitely vital to know the exceptions. You should contact your pediatrician if you notice the reflex occurring asymmetrically. That means it only happens on one side of the baby's body while the other side remains still. Also, reach out if it suddenly disappears entirely very early in infancy, or if you simply have general concerns about their overall movement or development. Your doctor is absolutely always your best resource to distinguish these specific warning signs from normal behavior.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a deeply reassuring thought. When you are pacing those dark halls at 3 a.m., exhausted and wishing for just one more hour of rest, remember this. Your baby is not being stubborn. They aren't trying to make sleep difficult for you. They're just experiencing a completely normal, automatic, newborn reflex while their tiny nervous system develops and adapts to our big, bright world. It's a sign of health, and it's a sign of growth.
So, I leave you with this final, perhaps slightly triggering question. How many times has the startle reflex completely interrupted a nap at your house? Seriously, drop your most frustrating ruined nap stories in the comments below. We have all been there, and we really want to hear them. And hey, don't forget to subscribe for more explainers full of evidence-based parenting guidance to help you worry less, understand more, and maybe, just maybe, get a little bit more sleep. Catch you next time.